Hey guys, welcome back to Pokemon TCG Pocket. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the best pack to open. Now, this is going to be split into two parts, being the tutorial pack, which determines the beginner set of cards that you will get for your account, and that is on screen at the moment. And then we will also go through all the different packs and some of the key cards that you might want to pick up through those packs. And depending on what you want to play, I'll give you guys my thoughts around which pack you should be actually opening when you start your account. So let's start it off with the idea of your tutorial pack. Now, for me, personally, I think there is one that I think is the best option, a second best option, and a third best option, and they are ordered in screen. I think the Mewtwo beginner pack is absolutely fantastic. Now, once again, this is talking in terms of building a fairly competitive deck to get on board straight away. Now, if you're looking for collector's cards, if you're me, the highest priority is getting that Charmander alt art, then the Squirtle, then the Bulbasaur. However, once again, that depends what you're going for. Once again, if you're going for competitive style of early decks, then I really do like getting the Marowak EX from the Mewtwo pack for the tutorial pack. Once again, that's only the tutorial pack. So the first ever pack it shows you, it is guaranteed to have the Marowak, which then leads you into the Wonder Pick, which is going to guarantee you the Bulbasaur full art. Now, past that, the rest of the cards in that beginner pack on the Marowak is going to have a Sandslash, Dratini, Bulbasaur, and Shelder. Then when you get your basic beginner deck, once you get into battling, it will also give you the double Sandshrew, the double Cubone, and the rest you can see there. I'm not going to read them all out. But the big thing to note about this is Marowak EX with Sandslash is actually a pretty solid deck. I've actually been playing it a lot this week, and it performs really well against the meta. It's not a top tier deck, but it is still a very viable deck. And what this gives you access to is one copy of Marowak EX, which is really good. It gives you the 2 Sandshrew, the 2 Cubone, and the 2 Sandslash, because you get one in your beginner deck, and you also get one up here from the first pack. So basically, if you open a couple Mewtwo packs, you get maybe a Marowak, normal Marowak, or another Marowak EX, whatever. You're really cooking with this deck, because as a beginner, even not having any other Marowaks in it, it's not a bad brand new player deck. Keeping in mind that you do also, I didn't include them in this graphic, but when you get your tutorial deck, you do get some other staples like your Farfetch'd as well. And for anyone playing who doesn't have all the staples, you don't have Giovanni's, you don't have Sabrina's, I recommend just slapping in some basic Pokemon that can deal decent damage. Your Farfetch'd, Kangaskhan's if you have them, things like that, just to fill in your deck until you get all the trainers on board. But like I said, the Mewtwo EX deck, when you choose it as your tutorial pack, I think it giving you really good access into a solid Marowak deck is really solid, and you can also slap in your Hitmonchan into that as well, because it's not a bad basic Pokemon to slap into a fighting deck. You know, you got your Mindfu line that you can put in there as well, so it's really not too bad. And like I said, it evolves really quick, especially if you are pulling on the Mewtwo pack, because then you will go ahead and get yourself more of the base Marowak at least. And if you're running a Sandslash / Marowak deck with 1 Marowak EX and 2 normal Marowak, it's still perfectly reasonable and will get you on a good start. Now, the next in my priority is the Charizard pack, because this is giving you an Exeggutor EX. Now, Exeggutor EX ideally wants to be run, at least the best decks I've seen it run with, are with the Venusaur EX, and that is going to come out of the Mewtwo pack. So even though Exeggutor EX is not a bad one to pick up, the solo Exeggutor deck is a bit more scuffed. I've played around with different ideas like Pinsir and Exeggutor and stuff like that, which is more of a flip deck, and it is definitely viable. Exeggutor EX in itself is just a pretty solid card. It's really chunky and it has decent damage at a 1 cost, so it's pretty good. It does have the high retreat, which isn't as great, but you can still make a deck to get yourself started around it. And honestly, it's not a bad pick for a lot of people, because I feel like the highest majority of people will probably have Charmander as their favorite starter. I could be wrong on that take. I know it's my favorite starter. So if you do just want to get that Charmander, at least you do have a decent sort of playable deck that you can build from there. As we go into the Pikachu one, the problem with the Pikachu one is that Arcanine EX is just honestly a pretty bad card. Also stems from the fact that Growlithe is a really bad card, having a 2 cost with only 20 damage. It's just a really scuffed card, in my opinion. So Arcanine EX doesn't really see too much use. So the main reason this is not the greatest option is because the EX you get is not the greatest. However, it does set you up with a Rapidash, 2 Ponytas as well. Sorry, 2 Rapidash and 2 Ponytas, which can get you started onto a Blaine deck if you are going to pull from the Charizard pack. But honestly, those things you're going to come by pretty easily anyway, so I'd probably just avoid this one altogether. But once again, just recapping, my personal favorite, and if I was recommending to someone based on just getting themselves into a competitive state quicker, I would say pick up the Mewtwo pack as your tutorial pack, and then Charizard, not too bad, Executor, still good, and plus this one has the Charmander. So if you're more aesthetic pleased, then you can go ahead and pick up this one as well, but it's up to you guys. Like I said, Marowak is my top option, and Pikachu is definitely the lowest priority for me in this one. So that covers the beginner pack. As for opening the actual packs in general, what you want to be targeting and stuff like that, now there is a great website I'll leave linked in the description, which is Pokemon Zone. There's a bunch of other of these databases as well that have all the sets. What I like here is we can click on the Pikachu pack and we can filter and we can go ahead and see all the cards exclusive to the Pikachu pack. You can do the same with Charizard and Mewtwo. Maybe we'll do a scroll through all of these as well to show you guys. But I want to start off with this little TLDR sheet, and once again, I don't have absolutely everything on here. We will go through the entire lists, but this is my sort of TLDR of key hits that I was looking at. So from the, in general, I think like Charizard and Mewtwo have the larger quantity of good hits of decks that you can build from pulling on them. The Pikachu one, you're pretty much looking at building the Pikachu EX deck or picking up Misties for your water decks that you're building elsewhere. I put Blastoise in. He's not really that meta. He's just a bit of a cope, but I wanted to put something in there because it was looking pretty bare on the Pikachu side. But let's kick it off with the Charizard pack. So this has access to Starmie, a very strong card, a very strong deck. Normally it is going to be paired with Articuno and Misty. So unfortunately that does make it a little bit hard to build that deck because you have to pull from 3 packs, even though Misty is only a two diamond card. It does get quite hard to pull, trust me, I know. But the other thing with Starmie is from the Charizard pack, you do have access to Greninja in the Charizard pack as well, which is a good substitute in the Starmie deck. And even if you don't have access to the Misties yet, running these 2 cards, it's still not too bad without Misty because there are only 2 cost cards, so you actually don't have as many energy issues, and Misty's more of a win more for that deck. Then we obviously have Charizard EX. Now, the tricky thing about Charizard EX, if you're pulling for Charizard EX, you're also pulling for Moltres because you can't really build a great Charizard EX deck without the Moltres. So you're targeting these 2 together to go ahead and build the Charizard deck if that's what you're doing. Now, the only one I put here was the Executor EX because, once again, it does go really well in the Venusaur deck, which is not by any means a bad deck, but just also if you do choose the Charizard pack to start, you've already got one Executor EX and then you can be on your way with that one. Now, the final deck that you can get in here is actually a really solid free-to-play deck using only 2 diamond cards and below, and that is going to be the Blaine deck. Basically, you're going to pick up the Blaine, you're going to pick up the Vulpix Ninetales line and the Ponyta Rapidash, maybe a Magmar if you want, and you're building yourself a Blaine deck. So the good thing about the Charizard is, you know, it's harder to pull Charizard and Moltres. You're looking for 2 EXs there. Then if you're looking for Starmie, you're looking for Starmie Greninja line. Ideally, you're trying to get an Articuno or Misty. You know, you're moving down into deep territory with the Starmie. But the great thing is Blaine is something that no matter, like, most people pulling in the Charizard pack should probably be able to build the Blaine deck pretty quick, and that is super solid. Now, the next thing that I have here is Sabrina. Sabrina is a universal trainer that everyone wants to get 2 copies of, so you'll also be getting access into that. All 3 of these packs do have a pretty good trainer that they are looking for, but just note, Sabrina being able to swap your opponent's active Pokemon is a very much a staple card in a lot of decks. Then over here, I ran out of room, so I had to shrink these ones. Alakazam in here because Alakazam deck is actually really solid. There's a lot of variants you can run. The great thing about Alakazam is it can also run in multicolored decks because it only requires 1 Psychic, and the crazy thing about Alakazam is that he does more damage based on energy attached to the opponents, so it does allow him access into a lot of one-hit kills against heavy energied up enemies. The one iffy thing about Alakazam at the moment is that you know, Charizard discards energy, Mewtwo discards energy, Starmie is 10 HP over the kill threshold of a one-shot, so it's a little bit awkward, but Alakazam still nonetheless a fantastic deck that you can go ahead and build. Like I mentioned, Greninja works into a lot of things as well. So those are my main targets in Charizard. Once again, I'll do a walkthrough on the pack quickly and go through all the other cards and have a quick chat about them. But that's my main list here. Over here in the Pikachu pack, like I said, Pikachu and Zapdos EX are the two ones you're really looking forward to go ahead and build the Pikachu EX deck. Now, when you're building that Pikachu EX deck, you also got other cards exclusive to the Pikachu pack, like the Voltorb Electrode, which are going to be fantastic for it. You got the Pikachu Raichu, which I've put down here with Surge because it is another tech that you can do. There's a lot of different builds for the Pikachu EX deck. You can even use the Zebra Striker line. There's a bunch of different ways to play it, but those are all low rarity ones, so you should be picking them up anyway. And like I said, these two cards are the big ones that you're looking for from the Pikachu pack. And if you want to start with a Pikachu deck, you're obviously going to be pulling from this pack. Now, I put Blastoise in here. There are some other EXs that we'll look at in a minute when we go through the whole list. But in general, you know, it's all about the Pikachu EX, Zapdos EX, pretty much. The other key one is the Misty, because if you're playing any water deck, essentially, you are going to want 2 copies of Misty, at least with most water decks. Like I mentioned, Starmie can get away without Misty, but still having that Misty and the chance to flip heads and get an energy advantage early is just too much to pass up. So Misty is a great one to universal water trainer to go ahead and pick up. Then the other ones that I put in here of note is Hypno. If you want to be a troll and put people to sleep and watch them really rage, you know, Hypno is in this one. Like I said, you've also got the Raichu, the Lieutenant Surge, and all the other electrics in that pack that we are looking at. Now we jump into the Mewtwo pack. So Mewtwo, what are the key things we're looking for here? You're looking for Mewtwo and Gardevoir. Now Gardevoir is the only basically 3 diamond that I've put in like the big cards, because really if you are playing Mewtwo, you need those Gardevoirs. But the fantastic thing is you can pick up the Gardevoirs for the pack points if you have to, but just note, if you are building Mewtwo, you will want the Gardevoir. So those are the main hits that people are looking for, along with the Articuno EX, because it goes really well into the Starmie deck. It honestly goes really well into just about any water deck. If you can land Misty on this thing, it's fantastic. There is the Articuno and 18 trainer deck. I don't personally like that one. I don't think it's too crazy. I think Articuno needs to be accompanied by some other water Pokemon, but it is a fantastic card nonetheless. Now, the other one we do have in here is Venusaur EX, a really reasonable deck. Like I said, likes to be paired with Exeggutor EX. However, you can run Venusaurs with like the Caterpie line. You can run it with the Lilligant line. There are other ways to play the Venusaur, and Lilligant is universal across all packs, so picking up those Venusaurs is going to be nice. And then also we've got the Marowak EX in there, and also the normal Marowak, which gives you really easy access, especially if you chose the Mewtwo pack for your beginner pack. Then you're just pretty much cooking with a Marowak deck off the bat. So really nice to go ahead and pick up that as well. Now, as for the trainers, the gym leader, the Giovanni one, once again, only a 2 diamond card, but a very necessary staple in not most decks. It's not as staple as Sabrina, but in a lot of decks that have, you know, limiting damage, for instance, Mewtwo, where that 50 damage, if you could get it to 60, it's getting a lot of basic kills. Giovanni is a great universal trainer, so that one is in there to pick up. And then I've put down here a couple other ones. You know, Pidgeot can be used, Dragonite, super fun, not a top tier deck, but super fun deck. And then you got like the Weezing Koga plays, and Weezing is a great stall support for a lot of decks that do want to set up, so that is definitely another option. And those are the key cards we are looking at. Now, for me personally, like I said, I don't even think there's like a generic best deck. Have a look at the decks, see what you want to play, and whatever you want to play, go for it. If you want to play Charizard, pull the Charizard pack. If you want to play Pikachu, pull the Pikachu pack. If you want to play Mewtwo, pull the Mewtwo pack. It's pretty much that simple. That is as simple as it is, the way I look at it. Now, obviously, when you look at this, you've got more options with the Charizard pack and with the Mewtwo pack. The thing I love about the Charizard and Mewtwo pack is they've got a really free-to-play deck to get online both. Charizard pack has the Blaine deck. Very free to play and easy to get online pretty quick. And then we've got the Marowak deck in the Mewtwo pack, which is very quick and easy to get online if you chose it for your tutorial pack, because you've already got one Marowak EX. So those are 2 fantastic, and they both have the most universal gym leaders in them that are going to help you building all of your decks with Sabrina and Giovanni. So I personally like these 2 more, but once again, if you want to play a Pikachu deck, pull the Pikachu pack. That's literally as simple as it is. So now with that out of the way, the quick brief look at it, I want to jump back over here into the overview over here on Pokemon Zone and give you guys a quick look. So let's go through the Charizard pack first of all. See, you've got the Vileplume, you got Victory Bell, which is actually pretty fun to play with when you get into it. Like I mentioned, you've got the Blaine deck that you can build through the Ninetales, and then the Rapidash is a universal across all packs. Poliwrath, kind of fun, you know, getting that counter damage. Like I said, there's a lot of things, and the thing with this game is a lot of things are usable, even if they're not top tier. Dude, I should have probably put Machamp in the TLDR list, but I didn't. But yeah, Machamp, another one, definitely useful. I love running Kabutops with a Marowak EX. I find that quite fun. You got Melmetal, which is definitely a viable thing, and then you've also got the Bisharp line as well, which is universal, so you can pick those up. Meowth, usable for draw power in some decks. Not crazy about it. Kangaskhan can be used for a bit of early pressure and stall, which isn't too bad. You've got the Erica in there for the grass decks. You're going to need to pick that up for the grass decks as well. And that's pretty much all the cards. Like I said, there are so many things that are viable to play in this game at the moment, and you can do well with. So if you see anything in there that you want to build, like I said, I probably should have put Machamp in my TLDR list, because he's not bad. He's just not the greatest, you know what I mean? He's just sort of a very linear play. That's that one. Let's jump into the Mewtwo pack, going through everything here. Like I said, Venusaur, really good. Beedrill, I do want to try Beedrill, but it's just a bit funny having a 1 cost at a stage 2. Not quite it. What else have we got in here? I really like Tentacruel at 110 HP with a 2 cost ability, doing 50 damage and landing the poison. You can get some funny flip games with Kingler. The normal Articuno can be used in some places as well. I've never really used the Electros. I just think it's a bit iffy. You do have the Gengar in here as well, which Gengar is definitely in another viable deck. I probably could have put it in the list, but my TLDR list was getting a bit too big with all the Mewtwo pack cards. So Gengar, definitely another option in there. As we move on past that, who else have we got? I do think Zubat Golbat will be OP when Crobat comes. We don't know what Crobat will do, but I'm anticipating it to do good things. I mentioned everything else along here. Licky Tongue, if you want to get max damage rolls, it's fun for that, but nothing else really. Aerodactyl could be annoying. I just haven't managed to get it to work, and that's the main things we're looking at there over in the Mewtwo pack. And then finally, finishing off with the Pikachu pack. Let's see if I missed anything here. Honestly, Butterfree, I think Butterfree will have its day. I have experimented with it in a Butterfree slash Kabutops deck, which was kind of fun, but nothing crazy. Like I said, Arcanine, just not the greatest. Growlithe just kind of struggles, in my opinion. Blastoise, as I mentioned, is an option, but not the strongest of the setup options that there are, and you're kind of relying on Misty for that one. We do have a few good water options here. I do like Seeking in a flip deck. Well, you got a 50% chance to do no damage, but if you're doing 80 off of 1 energy on a stage 1 with 100 HP, it ain't too bad. I do like the Omastar as well to set that up in the back row while you wall out with maybe like a Articuno or something like that. Gyarados I'm not a fan of, because Magikarp has 30 HP and just dies too easy to just about anything. As I mentioned with the Raichu and the Lieutenant Surge, you compare that up with a Magneton and get the energy generation happening so that you can charge a Raichu and you can play that deck. But like I said, it's mainly Pikachu EX that is the source there. Oh yeah, we also got Jolteon. I love Jolteon. I think Jolteon's a great card as well. Unfortunately, Eevee doesn't count towards Pikachu's extra damage, so you know it doesn't work greatly to put it in the Pikachu deck, but I do have fun with it nonetheless. You get 4 flips at 40 damage per flip for a 2 cost stage 1 card. It's pretty solid. Then we do have the Drowsy and Hypno, as I mentioned. You've also got Dugtrio in this one, which is a pretty solid stall line. You do have the Nidos as well. However, I am not a massive, the Nidoking's my favorite Pokemon. The deck I just can't get to work. You got Wigglytuff, which I think will get a little bit better once you get the new Jigglypuff, which has a 1 cost put to sleep. But at the moment, Wigglytuff ain't really doing too much. Plus, you're relying on a ton on flips with that one as well. Some people like Snorlax for stall. I'm not a massive fan. Like I said, you got the Surge, and that pretty much covers everything in those decks. But once again, you do have the collect card, so if you are looking to collect stuff, you can look to that stuff as well. But that pretty much covers everything you need to know about the packs. Recapping, for the beginner pack, if I had to choose one, I would choose the Mewtwo pack. And then this one over here, once again, I'm not even going to say what I think. I think Charizard and Mewtwo have easier access to build decks that are going to get online really quick. Having said that, Pikachu, you can build electric decks without the Pikachu EX, but they're not on the same level as something like the Blaine deck or the Marowak EX deck. So, you know, that's what you're trading off. But literally, what deck do you want to build? There you go, you can choose the pack. That's pretty much all there is to it. But if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer as many. I do have a beginner series, beginner playlist on the channel as well, which maybe has some other information that you might be looking for. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.